Welcome. My name is Daniel Sainz, and I'm here to share with you my self directed learning journey and experience with becoming a Google Certified Educator Level 1. Google for Education has several certifications for educators to become certified in integrating Google Suite in the classroom. To gain certification, one must demonstrate proficiency in Google Classroom, Google Drive, Google Meet, Slides, Chat, and a host of other great Google tools. This certification is valid for 36 months. Google helps prepare you for your exam with their Fundamentals Training Program. The advantages of their Fundamentals Training Program is that it's an easy to follow, self-paced program. It includes 13 units with an introduction and a review section, sample questions to practice leading up to the exam, and promotes lessons such as digital citizenship and positive online behavior. Why I chose Google Certified Educator. As a teacher McAllen ISD, our district was one of the first districts to incorporate technology in the classroom and in campuses. They provided our students with iPads, our elementary kids with iPods. They provided all high school students with Chromebooks. They gave teachers iPads, laptop computers. They upgraded our campuses with Apple TV, MacBook Airs, and all the latest software and upgrades. With so much technology at our fingertips, the expectations from our district was teachers would slowly incorporate technology in our classrooms, right? But when the pandemic hit and COVID shifted learning from in-person to online remote learning, the pandemic only strengthened our regard for moving forward with technology. Becoming a certified educator, a Google certified educator, it was a perfect complement for my professional growth. For me, I saw endless possibilities with the tools that Google provided teachers to make their classrooms and lessons more engaging. And my focus was to help teacher or myself move from a teacher-centered classroom to a more student-centered learning. Using Google Chrome extensions, YouTube, Google Search, Jamboard, Google Earth, all of these tools on top of all the other Google tools such as Classroom and Slides allow for classrooms to become more efficient, more integrated with opportunities for students to be engaged. And when you have questions, Google provides a help forum for educators, a site where teachers can go on, post their questions, any issues that they may have, and you interact and collaborate with other teachers to solve the issues that we as educators face on an everyday basis. So what have I learned? This was the most interesting part. I felt like I was very experienced. I was semi-experienced with Google, but the reality was that I only was skimming the very top of what Google had to offer. I'll give you an example. I researched more on Google Sites, and I started incorporating and what I had learned into creating my own sites. And so I created my own site for my classroom. I had always wanted to do this in the past, but all the other programs were just very difficult, and Google Sites was such an easy platform to navigate. So I created my own website, my message to my students. I teach three different classes, AP Euro, Economics, and Financial Literacy. And my website's still under construction, but if you go to my AP Euro site, which is the most recent that I've worked on, I gave my own message. So the goal for me was to help my students, give them an opportunity to when they're not in the classroom, still have access to everything that we would do in class. And so I put things like news from AP Central, for AP European History, exam schedules, ideas of what to expect, each lessons and units for all the units we cover, the notes that we would be covering in class. Let's say you missed a day and we went over the Renaissance. The notes would be here for you, for students to be able to take leadership of their own learning. Chapter outlines for the chapters that we cover, PowerPoints that I may use, textbook PowerPoints, crash course videos. Please excuse the loading of the web page. College Board YouTube reviews, all the acts, so much information available. This was my way of gathering that information and making it available for my students. So that was one of the things that I found amazing about my learning experience. Other things, I learned how to integrate and use not one specific Google platform, but how to incorporate them. And one perfect example of that is the escape rooms. Escape rooms are created on Google Sites, but they work with Google Forms and Google Classrooms. And so here's an example of a Google site, I'm sorry, a Google escape room that I created that incorporates Google Forms and Google Classroom and other tools all together. And that's what I think really works so well about Google Sites and Suite is that they work all seamlessly so well together. It allows for your classroom to be engaging and efficient. And so, for example, this is an escape room. Students would visit this escape room, and it would be a review lesson. They would pick on any of these things in the room, try to unlock the door, and it would send them to a Google form that I would then get feedback on, and I could use that feedback on Google Sheets to measure how my students are doing when it came to review, and give them questions, so on and so on. And so I thought this was just a beautiful concept of how all the tools that Google provides work seamlessly together to help you become a more student-centered classroom. And so this is just one example, another example. And Jamboards. I was familiar vaguely with Jamboards, but here's another example of a Jamboard. This Jamboard, I used it once in class, and I was using it very rudimentarily. I was giving the students a question, write one sentence summary explaining the unification of Italy, and the students would then use the tools on the side to create a sticky note and answer the question. But what I didn't realize was, and what I learned later on, is that you can embed graphic organizers in there. And so you can scaffold your lessons using Google tools and help students be more engaged in the classroom. And so you can take that paper that you're so comfortable with, embed that into Jamboards, and have students kind of work together to take ownership of their learning. So again, these are examples, a few examples of what I learned and what I'm continuing to learn as I try to become Google certified and proficient with Google Suites. Ultimately, what I think the future holds for me is that I'm so interested in the level 2 Google certification education level 2. It's 11 units. It's more in-depth use of platforms like virtual field trips, blogging, in-depth research. But ultimately, I want to emphasize that I know technology helps enhance and accelerate learning in the classroom, but the transformation in the classroom comes from the teacher. And when the teacher transforms, like I have with my professional learning, that's when the classroom really evolves. Unfortunately, I do have a minor setback, and I apologize for that. I was not able to complete my level 1 certification in time. I have purchased the exam, and I'm waiting for registration and exam to become available. I've been waiting for the past several days for that to come available. I will provide evidence of my completion and upload my certification upon completion and grading of my exam. So again, I do apologize for the minor setback, but I assure you that my journey to become Google certified has been nothing short of amazing. So thank you for your time, and I appreciate